My name is Rima Kliore Frederickson. I'm the Regional Director of Gateway Learning Group. We are an ABA agency here in San Diego, and today I'll be talking about managing behavior, structuring your home, and regression, some topics that are sort of at the forefront of a lot of families' minds. We have seen a shift over the last year in a lot of areas. Of course, everybody is stuck at home. Students are now required to learn via Zoom rather than having social opportunities with their friends. So, one of the largest concerns that our families do have is regression, and specifically the loss of skills. And these are mostly social skills. It's wonderful if one of our clients has a sibling they can continue to be social with. However, it's a real big challenge when a child's main social opportunities are at school or at a sports event, and none of those things are happening anymore. So we're seeing a lot of behaviors kind of pop up that we had already sort of been able to manage. We're seeing things like high reactivity, tantrums, non-compliance, levels of high emotional reactivity that just weren't there before. So it's been a real challenge for us to see all these behaviors come back in our clients. But the good news is, we have all the tools in our back pocket to be able to address those and give parents the empowerment of knowing that, hey, there's something I can do to address these behaviors. Uncertainty can really breed a lot of anxiety, or behaviors that are coming from this place of just not knowing what to expect next. Across the board, kids, adults, like everybody's happier when you know what the expectations are. It's really hard to come into a situation and not have any idea, like, what's the schedule? Where do I go from here? One of the biggest things that families can do is structure the home. We all went into lockdown and everything was just kind of thrown up in the air, and there was no delineation between home and school and work or whatnot. So what's been really helpful is structuring an area of the house. It doesn't have to be a separate room or anything. It can be just in a corner. Put up a card table, a child's table, and anything at all, and kind of make that be that's school. And then when they turn around to leave, then that's home. So, it depends on the child and the family, what level of supports they need. Some kids are okay with just, they've got their desk in the corner. With other kiddos, we've actually put tape on the floor. So, when you cross this line, you're in school. When you cross back over, you're at home. We put up calendars so that they can do the circle time along with the teacher on the Zoom and whatnot. Another thing that's been, incredibly helpful is having visuals. Visual cues are always really important when working with kiddos and adults on the spectrum. And we all use schedules and visuals, right? I mean, I don't even know what my day is without looking at my computer or my phone. So, if you're thinking of it that way, if you have a child that is new to the Zoom school, they don't know what's happening, right? Like, they have no idea what's going on. So providing them with sort of a concrete visual, for some children, it's pictures if they're not able to read yet. For others, we can write out all the different periods, using supports like a token system. A child first needs to learn what a token system is, but this can be a really wonderful way for your child to be able to attend to work, via Zoom school while still, receiving reinforcement, primarily either from if the parent is sitting and working with them, or if one of our ABA therapists is there supporting them as well. We're able to make sure they're accessing a lot of reinforcement. Making sure that there's consistency as well, sort of just across the board. It's easy for everybody to be on a schedule. Once you can nail down a routine, it might be a little bit of a hectic routine, but if it's a routine, then there's that sameness for your child. It can be difficult for the kiddos that we work with to sort of deal with unanticipated change. So when the expectations are really, really clear from the get-go, and they know that I wake up in the morning, I come to the table, I have breakfast, then I go, take off my pajamas, brush my teeth, and I walk over and I sit down in my chair. If that's not changing from day to day to day, like where they wake up and, just kind of wander off and watch TV or whatnot, setting those expectations is really going to help your child feel calmer and be able to sort of work with this new reality that we have. Prior to COVID, we all had routines. You get up in the morning, you get ready for work or school, and then you go and you do it and you come home, and it's different, and as schools are moving from hybrid to on campus and then back to hybrid to all virtual, it can be really hard to maintain consistency and structure. But those are the really core things that are going to help prevent behaviors that we see that are typically related to like sort of not really knowing what's expected of them, right? So it's hard to see your child struggle, and some of these, I know it's easy to say these things, but as long as you keep it not fancy, like you can just knock this stuff out, your child is going to have a much smoother school experience, and your family is going to have a much smoother sort of experience as well. Some things that sound really, really simple can make a huge impact. One of my mantras is it doesn't have to be fancy. When we're making visuals, you can make one on the fly on a piece of paper with, a pen or pencil. It doesn't need to be a laminated sheet of paper with, tokens with Velcro and whatnot. I've seen that be sort of the stalling point for a lot of families. We were able to supply them with token boards, but when it comes time to make materials or supply these things, families have a lot going on right now. There's a lot. I mean, they have a lot going on all the time, but especially now when they're expected to have their workplace in their home, have the child's school be in their home, and have it still be their home. There's a lot going on. So it doesn't need to be fancy. You can have your table in the corner. You can have a chair. You can have the tape on the floor. You can have a piece of paper with like I said, a pen and a pencil, and draw out your token board. You can write out their schedule. What's really nice is to be able to kind of pull your child into helping you make that structure. You can get their buy-in a little bit more. This is going to depend on how impacted your child is, but giving them a sense of ownership, like, hey, this is your space. What do you want to put in here? How are we going to make this work for you? Pulling your child's ideas in, pulling your child's likes into the structure can not only make it more appealing for your child, but it's easier for you to be able to set those things up. So, my big piece of advice to parents is don't let it stop you. Don't let the response effort of doing all this stop you, because it can have a really tremendous impact, not just on your child, but on your entire family. When you have these dedicated areas that are for school versus work, I mean, it's tough when you use your dining table for school, work, and actual dining. It makes it really hard to compartmentalize and sort of separate your work day or your school day from your home day. And that's something that's really, really important right now. I think what's really important is that we set our kids up for success. It can be easier, and I do air quotes for that because it's kind of just in the moment and faster, but we react to behaviors. So a child has a tantrum, we react to it rather than being proactive. Like, let's put some strategies into place to make sure that this behavior isn't going to happen. And as behavior analysts, we determine what the function of the behavior is, and then we're able to come in and modify the antecedents, basically, remove those things that are causing the child anxiety. So, if this child is really struggling because they are having a lot of changes in their routine, well, let's solidify that. Let's make it visual and concrete for that child. That way they will see what is coming up in their day. They'll know, okay, I have to answer 5 more questions, and then I can access my, fidget spinner for 30 seconds or whatnot. Letting your kid know what the expectations are is going to give them a sense of ownership, and understanding that there will be an end to this sitting in front of the computer and not watching my video or whatnot. Most tantrums result from a child not getting what they want. So they're either frustrated because they're not getting what they want, or they're frustrated because they want to do something and they can't do it. Many of our kiddos, when they come to us, they don't have a way to communicate yet. They're not using vocal speech yet. So it's important that a child have a way to communicate what they want and what they need. So if your child isn't communicating yet, I think it's really important to, get them assessed to determine if they have a speech delay or any other issue that might be contributing to that. But some of the kiddos that come to us, they don't have any vocal speech yet. We start implementing an iconic communication system like PECS, that's the formal name. Or basically you use pictures of the items that the child wants, and you teach them to exchange the pictures for the items. I would say that's the number one. That's the number one strategy we implement when a family comes to us and the child is not communicating yet. Most of the behaviors that we see initially are related to the frustration that they can't get what they want because they don't know how to ask for it. When it comes to actual social skills, I would continue working, if your child was, super into board games with their best friend, or like to, roll a ball back and forth, do those things, maintain those things, and don't let that child lose contact completely, with their cousin or whatnot. They can do some creative things like, do arts and crafts to send each other in the mail or whatnot. Something just to keep that social connection going. For families that have one child only, it can be pretty challenging because there's no built-in play partner, and especially for a child that for whom play isn't like naturally reinforcing. Being in isolation like this is kind of like awesome, like I don't have to interact with anybody, right? And we want to make sure that we're providing as many opportunities we can to that child to like, well, no, you still need to have interactions with other people. So it does take time to sit and do crafts with your child. It does take time to sit and do a board game with them, but the time put in right now is going to pay off in the future because you're teaching your child these skills, these play skills that they're going to need once they go back into the real world, and to interact with their friends. I would continue reading a lot of books, doing a lot of like fun sensory play and whatnot. That's really going to help your child to develop a repertoire of play skills that they'll be able to use with same age peers in the future. Behaviors, a certain level of behaviors is expected, and if a child isn't having any behaviors, then that in itself can be a red flag. However, if your child is engaging in behaviors that are dangerous or aren't responding to your typical parenting behavior management strategies, or if you're seeing any other red flags, the next step would be to contact a qualified ABA agency such as Gateway. We could complete an evaluation to determine the best treatment plan moving forward for your child. If they haven't yet received a diagnosis, then I would absolutely recommend that they reach out to their pediatrician and say, I have concerns about my child's language development, or I have concerns about my child's behavior. And then your pediatrician will be able to send you off to a qualified psychologist who will be able to complete a psychological evaluation and determine if your child has any diagnoses such as autism, etc.